welcome back. Kathleen here, and in today's video I have 5 mistakes that I see mature women making with their eye makeup, and then I'm going to share with you 5 things to do to correct those mistakes. So if that interests you, continue watching. So these 5 mistakes are mistakes that I have made myself. That's how I know that they're wrong. So as I matured, I had noticed that when I looked at myself in the mirror that I looked very pale, I looked very dead, I felt like I had no brightness to me, and that I just sort of looked like I was blending into my hair and my skin, and I felt like just one beige person. So my tendency was to think, well, I should go in there with a heavier foundation, I should go in there with more eye makeup, I should go in there with a heavier liner, and just more, which ended up to backfire on me and just made me look older. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you what to do instead. As we mature, less is more. That's for sure. We do not need to use a lot of product. So the first mistake I'm going to show you is shimmer. And I thought, oh, shimmer is so pretty, and it's light, and it's bright, and it's just going to wake up my face. So with shimmer, if you put way too much shimmer on the entire eye, it's going to lay in every crease and crevice, and it's going to draw attention to any of that texture. But you can still wear shimmer, you just have to be really careful about where you place it. So what I see a lot of women doing is, I'm going to go back here, is they'll take a shimmer and they'll put it all over the entire lid. Can you already see how that's just making my eyes look smaller? And they put it all across the entire lid, which is way too much shimmer. Can you see how it's sitting in the texture up and through here and just making my eyes look like they have more fine lines and wrinkles? So what you can do instead is take a shimmer. I'm going to take this liquid shimmer, and we're just going to put that across the lid. Now this has a little bit of color to it. It's a little bit of warmth, and we're just going to go in and we're going to take it and we're going to put it right across our lid like so. And we're going to take a brush and we're going to blend that in. And I'm not going up here in the hood, I'm not going up here where any of this texture is. I'm just going right across the lid part. Now, can you see the difference between this eye and this eye? This eye already looks smaller, but this eye looks bigger and brighter. So with this eye, the shimmer is way too light and I put entirely too much on, where this one has a little bit of color to it, a little bit of warmth, so that's gonna make my eyes pop a little bit more. And I'm just putting it across the lid. Mistake number 2 is going in there with a black eyeliner and using way too much. So what they do is go in there and they'll take black with black. So that's way too dark, and it's just way too heavy for a mature eye. So what you can do is go in there with a warmer brown shade, like this shade here. This is from Trish McAvoy, and it's called, what is it called? It's called Espresso. And what you can do is go in there and just go into the lash line like so. And just kind of draw that in there. And you want to go in between those lashes and just kind of wiggle it into the lashes. You don't want to go above, because it's going to get too heavy then. And just wiggle it in between there. And that's going to help with a couple of things. It's going to define that lash line, and it's going to make the lashes look less sparse that way. Some people refer as going in there with the waterline, which you can do, but this is actually going in between those lashes and just really pressing that pencil in there. So can you see the difference between this eye and this eye? Now if you want, you can go down below, but I would keep it on the outer third part of the lashes, and I would go right again on the lash. We don't want anything too heavy. So mistake number 3 is going in there and using way too much concealer or the wrong concealer. So if you go in there with way too much concealer, what's going to happen is it's going to end up looking cakey. It's going to attach itself to any dry areas that you have, and it's just going to collect there throughout the day, and it's just going to feel uncomfortable, and it's going to look way too heavy. So if you go in there and put this much concealer, and a lot of times women do that because they're like, oh, I have such dark circles and I have bags, and I want to go in there and I want to cover everything up. So they go in there and they put all of the concealer right underneath that eye, so it looks like so. And then they're blending it in, okay? What you want to do is go in there and you want to look for any dark areas in the under eye, okay? And you want to do like in here, because that'll brighten it up. Put your head down. Find that dark circle here and go in there and just brush it lightly across that circle, very lightly. Up here's a little darkness, and then just kind of bring it straight up. And we're gonna lift up. Putting all this concealer underneath this eye is just bringing this eye down and making it look just more tired. So when you're finished, the eye should look something like this. You don't need a lot of product, and I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see in mature women is going in there with way too much product. Use a lot less than you think you need. So the next mistake I see mature women making is with mascara, and I'll show you what they do. They may have very few lashes, right? So they'll go in there and they'll take a lash primer and put a lash primer on, which I have no problem with, but if you use too much of it, it'll backfire on you. Everything is about being careful about how much you use. I'll put it on the upper, the lower, on there, thinking maybe and just keep loading it up. Then I'll go in there with the mascara, and can you see how heavy and clumpy that looks on the eye? What you should do instead is this, is go in there with a lash curler, lift those lashes up, because the higher you lift your lashes, the more open your eye is going to look. You can go in there with the lash primer if you want, that's fine, but just be careful about how much you're using. You don't want your lashes to look clumpy. One coat should do it. Keep it away from the bottom lashes, then go in there with your mascara, and focus on the outer portion of your lashes, out here first. Lift that up and keep wiggling it up. Put a little bit in here, you don't need much, but just focus on this outer portion so that it lifts up the outer portion of this eye. So that you can see that the outer part of my eye is being lifted by the mascara, where this eye is bringing everything down and making it look very heavy. So the last thing I see mature women doing is blush. Now, blush doesn't go on the eyes, but it can do a lot for the eyes, or it also can drag the eyes down. So what they'll do is they'll take a really nice blush. This is a beautiful color, but it's the wrong shade for my skin tone. And they'll go here and they'll put the blush on the apples of the cheek. Like so. And it's way too dark. And they'll try to blend that in. So they'll press it into the skin, which is fine. You can take your fingers and press it into your skin. But that's too much blush, and the placement is just dragging down my face and making it look very heavy. What we need to do is go in there with a little bit lighter of the shade, especially for my skin tone. Now, if you're a darker skin tone, this shade might work perfect for you, but it's too dark for me. Go in there with this mauve shade and bring it up high by the eye. Keep it up here and lift it up. And that will just brighten up that eye, and it just kind of keeps the face more lifted and makes the eyes look more awake. Now, can you see the difference between this side of my face and this side of my face? So this side of my face just looks more polished, it looks more awake, and my eyes look a little bit brighter, where this side looks a little bit sadder. And that is the goal with mature makeup. We want to put enough makeup on so that we look like we're fresh and awake and healthy looking, not to the point where we look like we put way too much on and we're trying way too hard and it's backfiring on us. And that's what happened with this side. And I'm not judging anybody because I have done this myself. And just to let you know, I create content for mature women who are looking for more of a simple, effortless type skincare and makeup routine. Nothing that's too overdone. It's really just about being the best version of yourself. So if that's you, consider subscribing.